It's your open source advocate, and I'm back with another video, and today I wanted to talk about Webmin. Now, I realized the last time I did a video on Webmin was about 6 years ago, and this is still just such an absolutely valuable tool. For a lot of people coming from the Windows world, dealing with Linux servers can be a little bit more complicated than they want because they're not as used to using the command line. They've gotten into PowerShell now, maybe they're a little bit more used to it, but really Linux servers, unless you intentionally install a desktop, are pretty much just command line tools. Now, the command line tools in Linux are amazing and super powerful, but sometimes you're somebody who just wants to see a visual representation of what's going on in your server, and Webmin provides that. Now, you may have heard of Cockpit. It's a little bit of a newer project. It's one that gives you a little bit of information, a little bit of management, but honestly, if you want the power level management, you want to do Webmin. And the reason that I say that is check out everything you get over here. So this is Webmin running on one of my servers, and actually this was super helpful because I could have done this through the command line, but my server was running at like 96% on RAM, and I was like, what in the world's using that up? So I was able to go into Webmin, and I just went down here to System, and things are where you would think they would be for the most part, and I was just looking at, hey, like what's going on? So I was like, well, let's see what the running processes are. I went over, I checked it out, and then I just looked at the memory side, and I was like, oh wow, something's using up 32 gigs. What's going on? It was just something that had kind of a runaway memory leak. Went back, fixed that problem, and then everything was back to normal, which is awesome because, you know, this is a great way to really see what's happening with your system now. You can also have really cool systems set up like CheckMK or Zabbix that could be monitoring this, and if this gets too high and stays too high for too long, you can get notified of it. But it's really helpful just to see it very quickly and go check some things out. You get some nice charts, you get some really great graphs that can tell you some information about your system here on the dashboard. But then you can really dig into the system as well. So you can see like your backup configuration files. You can see all kinds of things about Webmin itself, but then you can get into the system. Before I continue with the video, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who supports me. You can support me in several different ways, and you can support the channel and keep open source growing. First way is Patreon. Come over here and become a patron. It really helps out, and I'll tell you right now, to all my patrons that I have right now, thank you so much. It means the world to me. I don't think I could tell you how much it means. So truly, thank you. I really do appreciate that. You can do buy me a beer or buy me a coffee as a one-off over at PayPal as well. If you prefer to do it that way, I appreciate it. I love to see those notifications come through. If you're looking to get a little more out of what you're giving, I've written a book, and it's a science fiction book. It's an amazing book in my personal opinion. Of course, I wrote it, so I'm a little bit biased, but I've had a few people read it who said they really liked it. So you could also go over to Amazon and get that. I've got links in the show notes in the description, so you can get to that pretty easily if you want paperback, ebook, hardback. It's completely up to you. I'm really proud of this. It took me a long time to get it written, and I'm happy with the way it turned out. So I hope you'll enjoy it. And if you're not into books, then I've also got a merchandise store that I've been setting up, and I've been doing this for a little while and trying to get it ready, so I'm excited to be putting this out there. But I've got a hoodie. It is white. It's actually a pretty nice looking little hoodie, and it's got the awesome open source logo on it, or one of the logos I've created on it. I've also got a tumbler glass, so if you're a person who likes having a little drink in the evening like I do, then that might be your speed. If you want to push back a pint, then I've also got a beer mug here. Frosted glass with some logos and some information on it. I've got a wine glass if you're a wine connoisseur. I've also got coffee mugs if you like coffee. And if you're just into the t-shirts, then I've got these amazing t-shirts that you can get. They do have stuff on the front and the back, so check them out. Again, it gives me a little bit, it gives you something out of the deal, so I truly appreciate that you're willing to get out there and do these things. Thank you again. Now let's get back to the video. Here you've got backups and shutdown, changing passwords, disk and network file systems, so file system backup. So if we go to disk and network file systems, for instance, let's just check that out. So you can see here's all of the different paths and all of the different disks and things that I have and their statuses. I really appreciate this. This is such a really useful way to see things and a useful tool. And you can do a lot of actions from here as well. I don't want to get too deep into it, but definitely want to let you have a chance to dig in and kind of learn. But here on your file system backup, you can do file system backups from here. You can start making backups and saving those backups. You can do log file rotation. So already your log files probably rotate to some extent, but if you have more of a specific period on which you want those to rotate, you could go in and set this up. So again, for you system admins, you IT administrators out there that really have things set the way you like it, and you want your Linux systems to mirror what your Windows systems have done for years, you've got a lot of opportunity to kind of set that up here without having to learn a ton of command line information to do this. You've got your MIME types. You've got your PAM authentication, so you can go and check out all your authentication settings. running processes we just looked at, and then of course you can set up your cron jobs, so you can see like what are my scheduled cron jobs that are running on this server, and I can just go through here and kind of see like what's happening on my server, what's gonna happen here whenever I'm doing different things, and you can check out what all your cron jobs are doing. And right here you can see that I've got this one for Monarca backup, so it actually runs a backup and then moves that stuff over to Monarca for me. So I really like that I have this view of it, and I can check things out and change things if I want to. Software package updates, of course, so I do have some package updates that I need to run, and then you've got you can run those right from the web admin interface as well. By the way, you do have the option to do it from here, but I do want to point out that you get this little bell icon here, and it kind of tells you things that need to be updated as well. And you can see right here, like, hey, there's 32 packages that need to be updated. If I click on that, it brings me right back to that software update list that we just saw, and I can actually run those updates from here. I don't have to log in through the CLI to do this, so I can make really fast, nice shortcuts on my tools like this to jump into my servers and do things like the different kind of maintenance that I want to do. Now, I'm using Ansible to do all my server updates because right now I'm running basically 30 virtual servers or more, so it just makes sense to use Ansible to run all that stuff. But when there's problems, I can come here and just do it manually. If I just feel like doing an update manually, I can do it from here as well. So we do get system logs. We do have system documentation as well, but the system logs are super useful. And if you check it out, it says it's getting the last 100, so you can change these patterns and these filters, but you can also tell that I want to see the logs as they're updating and how often you want it to refresh the logs. 2 seconds seems like, yeah, I want to see it all the time. You may not, because it goes really fast and it's hard to keep up with something where you're trying to track something, and read it. So sometimes a little bit longer time makes more sense, but you can change those things as you go. Just really a cool way to kind of see what's happening, and you can kind of filter things down and say like, oh, I see all messages. No, I don't want to see everything. Maybe I just want to see certain things. So this gives you all the journal CTL stuff that you get from systemd. You get the system logs on the RS side, and then of course you've got any kind of users and groups in the system, so you can see all the users and groups, just like you would do if you use the password command, the PASSWD command. Pretty awesome. Then you get into the actual servers themselves, so you can see like red user mail or SSH server. So do you have an SSH server running? And we do. I've already got an open SSH server running, so I don't need to do anything here, but you can set up an SSH server as well. You've got different tools also, so you've got this shell that's built in, pretty nice. You've got custom commands that you can save and run from here as well. You've got a file manager, of course, which is awesome, so you can go and actually manage all the files, different permissions on the files and things like that right from the web interface. You've got an HTTP tunnel. You've got You've got Perl modules. If you have any Perl modules, they'll be listed here. And then, of course, you've got different things like protected web directories, system and server status. You've got the terminal. So here we've actually got a terminal that's built in that we can actually use to run terminal commands and do all the things we want to do. And then, of course, upload and download files if you need to. On the networking side, you've got a lot of networking going on. You've got bandwidth monitoring, so you can set that up and get it running. You've got your Linux firewall. You can do your IPv6 firewall. Your network configuration. So this is really an important one for me because setting up the network through the way that Ubuntu does it these days is great as a YAML file, but sometimes I'm not exactly sure what to do to go set that up. So you got your network interfaces. You've got different things here that can help you get your network set up and running the way that you want and make sure that you've got all the network configured the way that you want to have it. Your NIS client and server. So I'm not sure what this actually is specifically, but here's your NIS client, client services, NIS. I'll have to go look that up. I'm not sure. Network information services. I'm not sure. Your PPTP VPN tunnel, I wouldn't suggest using this anymore. Set up something like WireGuard. It's going to be a lot better for you. It would be nice to see the Webmin folks put in the ability to see the WireGuard stuff that's running on your servers and kind of manage it from here. That'd be a really nice add. Just throwing that out there if there's anybody maintaining Webmin still. And then, of course, you've got TCP wrappers. Next, you've got your hardware, so you can check out anything that you've got going on with the hardware. So you've got your partitions on local disks. You've got printer administration, which, having dealt with printers in the recent past with Windows, having a clickable interface is nice. You can usually use the CUPS interface right on the machine that's connected to, but this is also a really nice way to do it, and I'm sure it's using some version of the CUPS interface to do that. And then, of course, you've got system time. If you've got clustering going on, you can check out your clustering and kind of drive that from here. And then any unused modules. So if you see something here that you're not using and you wanted to use it, you could go through here and actually enable it and start that running or download it and get it going. And then, of course, you can refresh the modules as well. So just tons of stuff built into something like Webmin. I'm not trying to do a long video. I'm not trying to do a video that says, hey, here's everything you have to do. But I do want to show you that very easily get this installed. So I'm going to have a link to this in the show notes and the description. But to go out and download Webmin, you actually go here, you highlight this command, and it's going to go out and just say, hey, I want to pull down this script. Now you can go check out the script. It's out there on GitHub. You can kind of see what it's doing first if you want to make sure you're comfortable with it. But once you pull it down, then you highlight this and paste it into your terminal and let it, it's going to ask you to, of course, authenticate because it's a pseudo privileged thing. And then it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to run this? Hit Y and hit enter, and it's going to install everything or get everything ready to be installed. And then if you're on the Red Hat, Fedora, CentOS, those spins, you're gonna use this command to install Webmin. If you're on Ubuntu and Debian, you're gonna use this command. And this little -- install recommends is helpful because it does install a lot of extra stuff. Now, if you don't like the way that they've got it there, the quick way, you also have a manual way that you can do this. So you can go down through here and kind of check this out and make sure everything makes sense. You can go through and do everything one step at a time. The script up here just automates it so that you don't have to do it one step at a time. It's very straightforward though. Highlight, copy, paste, run. Highlight, copy, paste, run. And then finally, depending on which system it is, highlight, copy, paste, and run. Once that's done, Webmin's up and running. You don't even have to reboot the system to get it to start running. You can just jump into the web interface. And what you do is you go to the IP address of that system at port 10,000. It's going to have a self-signed certificate, so it's going to ask you to, hey, like this isn't a secure site, or this isn't a trusted CA certificate. So you have to say yes, I want to go there and advance that kind of thing. But yeah, once you've got that, you can save it. It'll ask you to log in. You log in using your user credentials that you have set up on that server. So whatever non-root user you have that's got pseudo privileges, that's what you want to do to log in here. And then you can see these nice graphs. You can see all the information about your system. Of course, you get these charts down here that update over time. And you can see these things are updating as different stuff's happening on the server. But such a great way to actually use these types of tools. And actually, you can set up to see more than one server from one of these installs. And it'll just kind of automatically route you to the next server if you click on one of those things. But it can be useful and helpful. So just wanted to throw this out there. This is such a great, powerful tool, and I haven't talked about it in a long time. And if you haven't seen this and you're wanting a way to manage your Linux servers with just a nice web GUI that uses your credentials and login to actually log you into the GUI, I think this is a great option. Definitely get out there and check it out. See what you think. Again, installation is super easy. I just really think you're going to enjoy this one. I think you're going to like it. And I think you're going to find there's a lot of power here. So I really like this project. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, like, subscribe, tell your friends about it so they can come along on the open source journey with us, and I'll talk to you next time.